You are listening to the Workbench After Hours podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to the Second Amendment, where we talk about firearms, everything going on in the gun community, and we even try a different whiskey every week.
On this week, we try Old Forester Statesman and the ATF. They're looking more and more like the Redcoats. And why history is important and why schools need to go back and relearn history. And finally, after 86 episodes, we finally got the backing of the Sheriff's Department. And we were right.
Welcome to episode 86 of the Workbench After Hours podcast. Chris, what are we trying this week?
We are trying Old Forester Statesman. So right before we on here, I told him, this reminds me of the Kingsman film. And he's like, well, guess what? It's made based off that movie.
Yep.
So if anybody hasn't seen it, go see it. It's really good.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's really good. You need to see it. They got two of them now. So it's a 95 proof. So, and all it says on here is it's distilled by us, and we are responsible for the richness and fine quality. Its elegant flavors is solely due to the original. It's hard to read when it's in gold and the background's brown. Finesse developed with care. There is nothing better than this on the market. We'll be the judges of that.
We tried 1910?
Yeah, 1910.
Okay. And that's the only Old Forester we've had so far, right? Or did we try something else?
I thought we had the 1857 too, maybe.
I keep saying I'm going to make a list.
I know.
A list somewhere.
It's so bad going to liquor stores now.
Yeah, they got quite a lineup of Old Forester, quite a few different ones.
Yeah. The 1910 was really good. I think it's because it was double charred, I think. Double barreled or something like that.
This one came in just under $60.
That's about the price I paid for mine.
Yeah, so not cheap, but...
Yeah. We'll see. I bet it's probably deep. Good.
Yeah,
the other ones have been good.
My dad loves this stuff, so it's one of his favorites of Old Forester, so it's got to be good, right?
Yeah.
So when I smell this, I'm getting a lot of like spices and vanilla.
Yeah, I get a lot of vanilla and the oaky spice that we usually get.
Yeah. It's a very darker color.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty dark. It's got a goldish brown.
But yeah, I'm getting some like almost like baking spices and then vanilla.
Yeah, I'm getting the like vanilla and like oak, like charred oak spice.
So according to Old Forester, it's devil's food, clove, and oak spice with an undercurrent of raw vanilla.
Well, pretty spot on, I'd say.
There you go. So see what you get on the taste. Again, the baking spices.
Yeah, I get a lot of spice.
Spices and then vanilla.
It's pretty smooth. Really, it is.
Yeah,
I'd say probably medium to long finish.
And then, yeah, the finish is just...
It just coats it.
Kind of coats your tongue and just kind of that spiciness sits on it for a minute. Mm-hmm. So the taste. Buttery leather. Quickly dominated by a bold flash of pepper, cinnamon, bark, and sharp citrus. I don't know if I get any cinnamon.
Cinnamon or citrus?
It says cinnamon bark. A bold flash of pepper, which we get that.
Yep.
Cinnamon bark and sharp citrus. I don't know if I get that either. Cinnamon and citrus?
I'm not getting the cinnamon or the citrus.
The finish is intense spice and eucalyptus, which fade into orange cream and caramel.
You get the caramel. I don't say about orange cream.
Yeah,
I think of cream like soda when they say that. I don't know why.
I'm not. Yeah, again, I'm not getting anything orange.
Yeah, I'll try a smaller one, let it sit and see. That's what I do a lot of the times now. I take a small sip and let it just sit.
Yeah,
and then I'll wait. The citrus is there. Yeah, you gotta like after they say it, you can let it sit there and you think about it. Yeah, there is a little bit of citrus to it.
But had we not saw that, would you have picked it out?
No.
Yeah,
it's very, very like minute in the flavoring.
Like
you get a little bit of it, but
yeah, it's good. It's a good keeper.
Yeah,
I like the bottle.
Can't go wrong with Old Forester here lately.
No.
So
we're good, and it's a good mixing cocktail if you want to do that.
Yeah.
Although for $60, I don't know if I want to mix it. I'm probably gonna drink it straight.
Yeah. I've drank a lot of Woodford this last week.
Can't go wrong with Woodford at all.
Yeah, Woodford and then Jack Cokes.
I'm going to put some on the rocks. I'm going to keep mine neat so that way I can kind of see how it changes.
Yeah.
And go from there. So we have quite a few things to unpack this week that are interesting. Some of this came out last week, but we were busy last week, so we didn't make an episode, but still wanted to touch on this. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, and this came out after a shooting in Jacksonville, Florida, I believe it was. Another shooting, and of course, media, that's all they focus on is the gun. It was the gun that caused the shooting, and it's the gun's problem. And of course, then all the Democrats and anti-gunners try and say, we need gun control, gun control. Well, our last podcast, we said that, after reviewing Oakland and California, gun control doesn't work.
Yeah. Speaking of California, did you see about the insurance being pulled from them and farmers pulled out of California completely?
I know farmers pulled out of Florida.
They pulled out of California. Like I guess, I don't know what it is. They said that there's no more home insurance there and they pulled out completely.
You can't profit because I work for an insurance company during the day.
Yeah.
But with all the natural disasters out there going on now, with the threat of earthquakes, which we haven't had any bad ones recently, but California is obviously due.
Yeah.
But the main thing is fires.
Yeah. They got a lot of wildfires out there.
Yes. And then Florida, obviously because of the hurricanes.
Yeah.
A lot of insurers pull out of there because it's too high of a risk.
Yeah.
Because usually when there's damage, you're totaling out
a home,
multi-million-dollar house and everything in it. Times, thousands.
I was just shocked when I heard that. And I was like, I wonder if they know something we don't.
No, it's just with everything going on, all the different catastrophes going on everywhere. There's reinsurance. Insurance companies actually have reinsurance. So, and then that reinsurance company has reinsurance. So once a payout on a natural disaster hits a certain amount, then the insurance carrier's reinsurance kind of reimburses them up to a certain amount, and it just goes further down the line. But it's getting to the point that California's too high of a risk. It's a continuous
I was wondering if
drought.
that had anything to do with air horns.
Right. No, it has nothing to do with...
Because we just talked about it, and I was like, interesting.
Well, then you have places like Macy's and Nordstrom's, pulling out of those cities.
Yeah.
They've been in there. And you can't blame them when you have those people just walking in there and taking whatever they want and walking out.
Yeah, it's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But finally, for the last 86 episodes, we've been preaching that it's not the gun, it's the person.
Yep.
These guns behind us are sitting up here not hurting anybody.
You haven't seen it walk off yet or go kill anyone.
No, they haven't loaded themselves. They haven't pointed at anybody.
I think we talked about this a long time ago, and I was bringing up the point, every time they say there's a fire, they don't blame the fire, they blame an arsonist. Mm-hmm. And we went down this path a little bit.
But finally, we have somebody backing up our statements.
Jesus.
So let's listen to what he's got to say.
There was nothing indicating that he should not own guns.
So then standing here on the other side of this podium, he possessed these guns legally. We know what he did with them. What could have been done? What should have been done?
Well, we have to stop people that have bad intentions. Guns, the story is always about guns. The people are bad. This guy's a bad guy. If I could take my gun off right now and I lay it on this counter, nothing will happen. It'll sit there. But as soon as a wicked person grabs a hold of that handgun and starts shooting people with it, there's the problem. The problem is the individual. Now, guns are a tool that people use to do horrible things, but it's the individuals that wield these things. So we are working hard to try to stop that. But in this situation, in this case, there was nothing illegal about him owning the firearm.
Amen.
What we've been saying for so long, and finally a sheriff has said it, and the media still doesn't get it. In that case, he told them it's not the gun, it's the person.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure when we watch the news at night, this person got stabbed by a knife. They're not blaming the knife company. They're blaming the person that stabbed them.
Mm-hmm. Anytime you hear a news article, a news story on a shooting, they focus on the gun.
Yeah, they don't focus on the person.
Yeah, it's the gun's fault. No, we have bad people are in America. There's a health crisis or whatever, but it's the person. There's bad people. They're going to do harm no matter what, whether it be a gun, a knife, a car, a van, a freaking machete.
Yeah, whatever they
samurai, a musket.
Bad people will find bad ways.
Yeah, they're going to do harm. So it's the person, not the tool. We've been saying that, and finally he's backed us up. But
thank you.
That's not going to change anything because we have gun control happy president.
For now. Yeah, for now.
For now. So yeah, and because of the Biden administration and him passing that Safe First Community Act, Oh man, the ATF. It's like every podcast that we're gonna come out with. There's gonna be a new final ruling that they're passing.
Yeah.
The ATF is like the new Redcoats. We're gonna because they're doing. If you go back and they're everything we're gonna talk about is kind of all related. With guns being the bad thing,
Yeah.
and everybody wanting to come take your guns. Well, then this next thing with the ATF we've already talked about the prior rules that they have already, come out with. The one that they just introduced regarding private sales. They don't want you to be able to sell your gun private sale. And there's another one that just came out in the works as well. And this kind of goes back to them kind of being the Redcoats here, is they are now doing this one, which I'll pull up on the screen. This hasn't been gone into effect or anything. It's getting ready to get sent out, and then it'll go to the comments, and you comment on it all you want, but they're still going to implement this of what power that they don't have to do this with.
Let's just make laws up and say it's good.
Yeah. So they're going after your gunpowder.
Jesus.
Any person who stores explosive materials, which they're considering gunpowder in this, shall notify the authority having jurisdiction for the fire safety in locality in which the explosive materials are being stored.
I guarantee if we walked into the ATF office or whatnot, I guarantee they got their stuff just laying out.
Of course.
So they should be concerned about themselves instead of others.
Yeah, so they want you to report the local authorities and to the ATF what you have and where you have it stored. And their thing is that it's for fire safety, because if there's a fire, the authorities know that you have explosive material in your house.
Okay.
That is such BS. That is a huge cover-up of what they're actually trying to do.
Let's look at all this gasoline that everyone's probably got in their garage for their lawnmowers or their weed eaters, or let's not talk about brake fluid and brake cleaners and oils and all that.
Because do you know how many people actually reload their own ammo?
A lot.
Yes. And the ones that do have a lot of it.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to notify your local authorities, but also the ATF that, I have X amount of gunpowder stored in my basement or garage or wherever. And then, you're kind of going to be on their radar at that point, and you have to notify them every year.
That's ridiculous.
So that's, if you look back in history, what did the British try to do?
Take over.
Well, yeah, but
Tax the crap out of us.
yeah, all that. But they had spies, and they were trying to find the people that had the gunpowder and the guns. So they had spies trying to tell them who had these guns and gunpowder, so that way they can.
So this would be a form of tyrannical government, which our Second Amendment's for.
It is, but they're hiding behind the fact that it's for our safety and the fire department safety.
At this point, it's a tyrannical government.
Exactly.
And we should overthrow them.
And the fact that the ATF doesn't have the authority to enforce any of these rules that they're coming up with.
Yeah.
This is what, number 5,000? Yeah. It's just every week it's a new final rule that they're coming out with. And we've said this before. Once they start with something, they're going to keep going and taking more and more and more. That's why you can't give in to one thing, because then they're going to come after the next and the next. And it may be small little bits here and there, but before you know it, it's going to be like Gavin Newsom and changing the entire Second Amendment and getting rid of it. And then we don't have a way to keep the government in check.
Yeah, which that's the whole reason why we have the Second Amendment.
And everybody that tried to do that on January 6th is now in jail. Like, some of those guys got 17 years, and that was a lower than expected sentence.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm to the point, that was planned almost, but it wasn't by who they think it was, who they want to blame. Because it's kind of weird. If you really go back and think about it, why did someone have their own press there during this whole time? That's convenient.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at this. And then, FBI's infiltrating places and things like that. And some of those look like FBI members out there. Interesting. Who's the FBI working for?
Yeah.
Makes you wonder.
It does. But the ATF is trying to make this all look like it's for the public safety. It's not.
What the public safety needs is for them to go bye-bye. That's what they need. Just look at the
It's what Matt
goober
Getz
that we
said.
had. Yeah, look at the goober that we had up there. Didn't even know what ATF stood for, and he was a director.
Yeah.
Couldn't even tell you his own laws that they wanted to pass.
With that pistol brace.
Yeah.
You couldn't. And he said you could just take it apart and you're fine.
Yeah.
And that's not how the final rule read.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then they came back and issued a statement. It's like, come on, no.
Yeah.
Even your ATF director doesn't know
Yep.
how this reads,
Goober.
and you guys are going to try and enforce this. No.
Yeah.
So this is just more and more stuff that's going to come up in the works. Obviously, there's going to be lawsuits against this, but I mean, there's that once they pass this into their final rule.
I mean, if they're going to do
there's
that,
gray area.
They got to have oils then on there, gasoline if they want to bring up fire safety and all that, like proper storage. Then you should have a hazmat locker and everything. If they're going to go into that.
Oh no, because those are fine.
Well, it's an explosive, and it's a fire hazard at that point. Then technically to
Yeah,
them,
it's like my propane tank inside my grill. I
Yeah.
mean, if my house catches on fire, that could explode. And
Yep. Not to mention gasoline that's stored, or if you have aerosols.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many people have got random things in their garage? Don't know what they are or what they can do.
Right. So that's another thing. So too.
Yeah.
So we got obviously the media trying to blame everything on the guns, trying to get everybody against guns and all that. Then you have the ATF trying to take your guns away, just like the Redcoats did. And yeah, if you go back in history, like I said, the British tried to take away the guns and gunpowder from all of us, so we couldn't fight against them. Well, that you see how that turned out. Well, the other thing, and this I found this out on TikTok last week actually, and it's actually made it to the news, and it's kind of been reversed. But the fact that this actually happened is just absurd. So you know what the Gadsden flag is, right?
Yep.
Okay, so if nobody knows, if you don't know what the Gadsden flag is, if you're watching, I'm going to put up the Wikipedia definition of the Gadsden flag. So it's basically, oh, look at that, a historical American flag. Yeah, and that gives you some background of it, basically, but it's a symbol of the unity of the 13 colonies at the start of the Revolutionary War. The Redcoats that were trying to control us. If you read all of this, I'm not going to read it all to you, but if you read all of this, it has nothing to do with slavery or anything like that, right? You don't see...
No.
It's defined because of, we were being united and fighting against the British. Well, here's what our schools are teaching our kids now.
Do they know what the Gadsden flag is? That it's a historical flag?
So the reason that they do not want the flag, the reason we do not want the flag displayed is due to its origins with
The Revolutionary
slavery and slave trade. That is what was, that is the reasoning behind why we do not want it displayed.
The Gadsden flag.
The don't tread on me.
Okay. Which is the Gadsden flag.
He is able to go. I was actually just telling him, like, I was upset that he was missing so much school. I'm like, so I asked if, can he just take his stuff out of his bag and go back to class? Like, I just want him to go back to class. The bag can't go back. It's got the patch on it because we can't have that in and around other kids. So that's what I was trying to, and then he said you were close. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with slavery. That's like the Revolutionary War patch that was
Okay.
displayed when they were fighting the British. Like that's the revolution. Maybe you're thinking of like the Confederate Confederate flag.
Okay, I am
Is that
just here
history
to
that you
enforce,
tell them?
no, I am here to enforce the policy that was provided by the district.
Okay.
And definitely, you have every right to not agree with it. I mean,
Yeah, because the
absolutely.
ACLU says that he's allowed to wear that. If you like go on their website, it's like says in big
So,
letters.
all I'm saying is that,
Unless there's like a ban on patches, period. Like if you said there's no patches allowed at the school, you cannot display what you think or anything like that, or what cheer or anything like that. I think it's like one-sided, because you allow some patches but not other patches. That was like flown during the revolution with, I just don't wonder. Yeah, and I mean, we teach him to always stick up for your beliefs, and I mean, you're going over the revolution for 7th grade. I mean, the founding fathers stood up for what they believed in against unjust laws, this is unjust.
Okay, like I said, we are upholding a policy that was provided to us, which we have to uphold.
Okay, can you show me where the policy?
Yeah, that'd be me. Show me the policy.
Yeah, so there's more to that clip. I tried to kind of cut it down a little bit, but that's what our children are being taught.
Oh man, I feel sorry for this society.
Well, the fact that they're
But I
not teaching history correctly.
I guarantee they know what another flag is, though.
What?
The pride flag.
Oh yeah, of course.
I'm sure they know what that is.
They're teaching about that, and that's not a problem. Teaching kids that if you're not okay with your gender, you can pick what you want to be, and fly that in everybody's face. Whatever. That's a whole different subject.
You're talking about American history, that built our freedom and our liberty on, and you have no idea. Especially that she's like, well, it's slavery. No, show me. I'm pretty sure she was thinking of the Confederate flag, which was actually a battle flag. So it wasn't for slavery. It just represented the South, just like the North had their own flag. So
this is what's being taught in schools.
yeah, they need to go back and get educated.
The teacher, I don't know if she was a teacher,
I think
principal, whatever.
Principal or admin.
Probably. But the fact that she doesn't know what that flag stands for.
Yeah, that.
And this is what they're teaching your kids. I bet you all those kids that weren't this kid, luckily, everybody else thinks that this is slavery. And we mentioned this a long time ago, that the Biden administration and the ATF are trying to make certain symbols that are pro-America. If you have that anywhere attached to you, or you have that symbol anywhere, you're kind of a far right-wing, like a terrorist, a domestic terrorist. And this is a prime example where the school system is trying to do that.
Yep, they're broke.
What happened to your First Amendment right, first of all?
Yep.
Because, like you said, they can have a pride flag on his backpack and that's fine, but don't tread on me flag, that he gets kicked out of class for that, and you can't have that. But again, looking at that definition on Wikipedia has nothing to do with slavery.
Nope.
Or the slave trade,
And
which
if
he said.
a lot of our Union Jacks on most of our military ships fly.
Yeah.
Say, do not tread on me.
And it's kind of like the Betsy Ross flag.
Yeah.
That's, for whatever reason, has to do with white supremacy now.
Next thing they're going to say is the American flag is racist because it's got 13 stripes on it to represent the 13 colonies.
I've seen...
and that represents slavery.
Right? I've seen videos of schools kind of half-assing doing the Pledge of Allegiance.
That drives me nuts.
Like, we used to have to, everybody had to get up, stand up. Somebody read it over the loudspeaker, and then we all kind of did it the same. Now, you have the option to participate in that. And a lot of the kids are just sitting there while some of them have to recite it themselves. There's not a loudspeaker doing it.
Yeah.
It's what...
I think that needs to be in every school, and people need to read those words and understand what they mean.
So...
Because I'm pretty sure in the Pledge of Allegiance, it says, to the republic for which it stands. Not democracy, republic. Yeah. To the people, that's you. Everyone out there, you are the people. We are not a democracy. A democracy is a governing body. You need to go back and really read those words and what they meant and what our forefathers or our founding fathers wanted us and why we have the amendments we do. Our amendments aren't for the government. They're for us, for the government, to protect us from the government. And like a lot of people don't understand that.
Apparently the teachers teaching our children
don't understand that. Yeah.
And so if our children aren't being taught the correct history, and then...
History will repeat itself. If you delete history, it'll repeat itself.
Which it seems to be doing so, because guess what the government doing in the ATF?
Yeah.
Trying to take our way to defend ourselves.
Yep.
And they're basically saying anybody that is pro-America is a domestic terrorist or a white supremacist or whatever. You're the bad guy.
Yeah. That irritates me a lot, that basic schools don't know basic history.
Yeah. And this is in Colorado. Like, I would expect this to be in California.
Yeah.
No, Colorado.
Yeah, that's
even though
unacceptable.
It's a Democrat-run state, but still, there's a lot of pro-gun people out in Colorado, big hunting state.
Yeah, that drives me just bonkers that the school district doesn't even know what it means. That, how could you be in that position? And then I would have been that parent too. Okay, fine. Show me where it says this in your policy.
Thank God for that parent.
Yeah.
And it was his mother.
Yeah.
The fact that his mother was able to defend him in that patch like that.
Yep.
It's like, I mean, you would expect the dad to do that, sure. But that kid, a very well-dressed kid,
Yep.
had his hair combed over, just kind of sat there taking it.
Slacks and nice button down.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not like this is some,
Yeah.
slum family that is anti-America and all, and like,
Well dressed, well mannered. It
yeah,
looked like.
exactly. They know their stuff, and she schooled that lady.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And it's funny. That's a good chunk of America.
Yeah.
A lot of Americans are smart enough to know all these things and are actually pro 2A.
Well,
but you can't.
That's the thing too. Like, I think when we grew up, we took pride in knowing about our country and our history and what our freedoms are, where they came from, and everything. Anymore, people don't care. They don't realize what it's like in other countries that don't have the freedoms and the liberties that we do, which is sad, but they might need to start going back to history books. There's a reason why everybody wants to come to America. We're not all fleeing to go to China. I don't see people fleeing to go to China. I wonder why that is. Oh, communism.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Well,
people want to come here.
all those celebrities that are like, oh, well, if Trump gets in office, we're going to another country. Guess who never did that?
Yeah, but why didn't you go?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to know. I would have helped you pack. I was like, during that point where like people were burning flags and everything, I understand it's your freedom and your right, but that is very disrespectful to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that I was like, I believe that you need to be learned and taught a lesson.
How is that not considered a domestic terrorist? Because you're burning the American flag, your nation's flag.
That
yet,
and seeing people fly it upside down drives me bonkers. I understand you think we're in distress. Okay, I get it, but it's also like, come on, grow up. We're not in distress. You want to see distress? Go over to these third world countries that can't survive without the Western ways.
even if you are in distress and you do that, how is that different than somebody having a patch of the Betsy Ross flag or the Gadsden flag or the come and take it flag?
Yeah.
How come those people labeled either racist or domestic terrorists, but the ones actually burning the flag, stepping on it, flying it upside down aren't?
Yeah.
And that's, oh, it's free speech. Okay, well, so is having the patches that are pro-America.
Yep.
This brings a very important question that everybody needs to ask themselves because it's a lot more difficult to answer nowadays. What is America?
Yep.
I mean, it used to be land of the free, land of opportunities, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Ask a bunch of people that question now.
They
You're
can't
not
even
going to get
answer.
that answer.
No.
Not to mention like the whole economy and, you know, nobody can afford to live here anymore.
That and what the government's been doing lately, they're trying to strip you of every right you have. That's what the funny thing is, like, the Democrat Party has not changed since from way back when. Everyone should be terrified of that. But the problem is they don't know. They don't go and do their research. Like, I was watching people like, oh, which party? They were playing a game. Like, which party was founded the KKK? And everyone's like, oh, the Republicans. No, it was the Democrat Party. Which one wanted for everyone to have equal rights? Oh, that's the Democrat. Nope, it was the Republican Party. Like, history is pretty close to repeating itself. They have not changed who they are. They're still trying to take away rights that we have, that we are born with since you are an American. Mm-hmm. And they're still trying to take control of you. That has not changed since 1800s, 1700s. So, like, y'all need to really open your eyes and do your own research. There's a reason why they're trying to hide this stuff from history books. Go dig for it. Like, you need to do your research because you're just being, I'm sorry, Pinocchio, you're being a puppet for them.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's not just, well, you don't hear about this or know the right things because of what you see on the news. That's obvious.
Yep.
The news only reports what they want you to hear and how they want to spin it. But now it's what's being taught in schools.
Yep. Which is sad. Like, America's got a lot of great history, and you're taking that away from young Americans.
Just because you disagree with our history doesn't mean to delete it
Yeah.
or don't teach people about it, because again, that's how it repeats itself.
Yep.
So yes, okay, we had slaves. We were slave owners at one point.
And the crazy thing is too,
Part of history.
like people, it's bad. Slavery's bad. Everyone gets it. We're the last country to do it, but every other country in the world has had slavery at one point in time.
Who do you think built those pyramids?
Yeah. I think giants did, but that's just me.
Yeah.
But like Roman empires and things like that, they had slaves. Like they fall because of it. But we didn't fall.
I mean, did you watch the movie Gladiator?
Yeah. Yeah. Look at that.
Those guys fighting as gladiators were basically slaves.
Yeah. They're trying to survive
Yeah.
and win their freedom. So, yeah, slavery is bad. It's over. It's in the past. None of us were alive during that time.
Yeah, no.
So, we all get it. So, and the
Can't
crazy thing,
erase it from history.
yeah, you
but
can't erase it or it's going to repeat itself. Or
Yeah.
we'll be right doing this again.
just teach our kids, hey, this is what happened in history.
Yeah.
This is why it was bad. Obviously, we had
A lot of people, too, don't want to learn that who was the first slave owner in America? It was actually an African American.
yeah.
They don't teach you that. They want to pin it on one race to make them look bad. But there was more African Americans with bigger slaves. They're bigger slave owners than most whites, which is crazy. But they don't teach you that. You got to go and do the research, which is sad. We shouldn't have to. I think they should be open-minded and teach everyone.
And if you can easily find it,
Yeah.
because they may be changing stuff on their internet, and you got to be careful now with AI.
Yep. I would go to the library. It's the best place to go. Go get books, read them.
An old book.
Yeah.
Look at the old encyclopedias and
Yeah.
old history books, not the new crap.
Yeah.
Because who knows what's in the new stuff. I'd like to compare a new history book.
To like ours.
Yeah, like the history book that we had when we were growing up compared to the one now, and see what they've taken out.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot missing.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, let us know down in the comments what you guys think about all of that. The lovely ATF final rules. The sheriff
Schools.
finally coming out and saying that it's not the guns, and then what they're teaching in schools. And
Yeah.
luckily, since that TikTok came out and it kind of went all over YouTube and everything, the school has come out and said, "Our bad. We're going to allow this flag."
Yeah, because I went and did their research after they got schooled.
No, it's because there was so much media brought to
Yeah.
it that they're like, "Oh,
And you look like idiots.
yeah, we
Way to
basically
go.
we basically have to retract this and let this kid have this."
Well, not only
patch.
that, like her asking for the policies, that was like a lot of people would be like, fine, whatever. Like, question people.
Yeah, if you
Just
go,
don't believe what they say.
if you watch the rest of it, it was like 3 minutes long. She does ask, "Where is this?" And the principal couldn't say where it was. They couldn't have that patch.
It was their beliefs.
Yeah,
That's what it was. They
because
thought
she
it was
thought-
wrong and they thought it was slavery and didn't know her history.
But had she not recorded that and that went viral, what would have happened?
Yeah.
Would they have overturned that decision?
I don't know.
Probably not, because I think because it actually got reported on a lot of news outlets and stuff after TikTok. And if that didn't happen, and it's this mom's word against the school.
Yeah. I believe in, and I think mom was smart.
Yeah,
And she also held them accountable. A lot of things that people don't like doing anymore. They don't like being held accountable. You got to be held accountable for your actions and what you say. Like, you can't just say things and think you can get away with it. You got to be held accountable.
Wait a minute. What about Hunter Biden and lying on the forum?
Well,
The president's son, and I'm pretty sure
There-
Joe Biden said some things.
that's
but
what
he's
happens
not
when you
being
got
held
power.
He's not being held accountable. That's weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so
but we'll go
you can
after
only be-
Trump until he gets the election. Then he's going to hold him accountable.
Yeah, you can only be held accountable if you don't have a lot of power.
Yeah. The rich get rich, the poor get poor.
Yes.
Story of our lives. But a lot of people need to start opening their eyes and
Well, and
don't believe everything you see on the internet. Don't believe everything you see or hear from schools. Actually go and do your research. Might surprise you.
Unfortunately, we had to take out a section of this podcast because YouTube took our video down. we briefly talked about something that is making a comeback if you watch the news, and it just so happens to be right before an election. So if you look at this thing up here on the screen, this is why they took down this video, because we talked about a certain virus in the upcoming election. And basically, it's medical misinformation according to YouTube. They don't allow content that poses a serious risk of harm by spreading medical misinformation about currently administered vaccines that are approved and confirmed to be safe effectively by the health authorities and by the WHO. Interesting. So censorship right here, just to show you, even though we're just talking about it, giving you a conversation, not saying one thing or the other is right or wrong, but just a conversation so you can see both sides to it. Well, looks like they are censoring our side of it. So unfortunately, we had to remove this, as you'll see, and I tried to fight it, but they just came back and said, no, we cannot put this video up because it goes against this new guideline that apparently just came about. So fortunately, this came back, but here's the rest of the episode.
If America actually stood together like they did after September 11th.
Where's that America?
Yeah.
The America on September 12th.
2001.
Yes. Where's that America?
We need that America right now.
Mm-hmm.
We need to come together and stand as one.
We're so divided now that...
And that's the game, is divide and conquer.
Mm-hmm. And it's if you talk to anybody, you're either right or wrong.
Yep.
We're not saying we're right or wrong, but we're just giving you our opinions and some things to think about.
Yep. I don't care if you think I'm right or if I'm wrong. Guess what?
You have
freedom
your own,
of speech.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
You think
you have your
right.
own opinions. Everyone has their own opinion.
Yeah. If you disagree with what we say, cool.
Good for you.
Yeah. I'm not going to try and change your mind.
Nope. Funny.
But I think this is all kind of correlated together.
Yeah, it is.
It's all related. So we'll see what happens between now and next week. I'm sure there's going to be another ATF on a roll that'll come out.
Probably.
And we'll have to talk about that and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, so if you guys like the guns behind us that aren't doing anything and haven't hurt us or anybody else, because, you know,
they have looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Hanging there.
So if you like these wall panels that are holding the guns that don't hurt people, because it's people hurting people, not these guns behind us, check out tacticalwalls.com. There'll be a link in the description below to the website, and use code BST10 for 10% off, because these things are awesome. And if you want to put them in your office like we did, your garage, basement, wherever, living room, bedroom,
everywhere,
over your bed, I don't know.
The whole room.
And they don't only just have these wall panels, they have like all these cool stuff. They have concealment shelves.
Yeah.
So they have like these bookshelves that looks like a shelf where you put stuff on, but then you have a gun in there. They have what I really want to get and wanted to get for some time is they have like a mirror. So
like a double-sided mirror almost.
It's like a standing mirror, and you could get a couple different sizes, but it looks like a full height standing mirror, and it's about 16 inches wide, just wide enough to go in between studs. So what you do is you cut out a hole in the wall, they provide a template and everything, and then you put this insert in, and it's like a gun safe, because it looks like just a mirror, but then you have a magnet, and if you have the right magnet and you put it on there, the mirror slides over, and you have access to whatever gun or anything that you want to put in there.
Hide and seek.
Yes. It's awesome. So check out tacticalwalls.com. They got more than just these panels behind us. They got some cool ways to hide your guns and kind of strategically place stuff just in case you have a home invasion, because you never know. Again, people are bad, not the guns.
Yep. Pretty much.
Yep. So description below, BST10 for 10% off. We actually did that without messing up.
I know. I was waiting for it. I was like, are you going to say it? Are you going to say it? All right.
Bam.
So.
Yes. So since I didn't mess up with that, let's see if Chris can do his without messing up.
Remember, this is a YouTube podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and tickle that bell. If you're listening on any platform such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any of those listening devices that you like to listen to us on, please hit that follow. And with that one, have a good one.